Welcome to the video about Care Act duties on assessment of need. Please note that we have other videos about this topic on the Sky website, along with other resources and a handout with key messages and reflective questions to support and embed the learning. My name is Paula, and with me today is June. Hi, June.
Hello, Paula.
Hiya. The third aspect of an assessment of need is to find out how an individual's needs are impacting on their well-being. June has previously explained that one of the important outcomes for her in her day-to-day life is to be able to contribute to the development of social work students as a practice educator. Thus, if June's needs prevented her from carrying on this role, as social care practitioner, I would be thinking about how this impacts on wellbeing areas such as individual contribution to society, participation in work, education, training and recreation, physical and mental and emotional well-being. And I'd be exploring with June how her needs and difficulties in achieving this personal outcome makes her feel, asking questions to identify the impact of her needs in these areas of well-being, and asking her broader questions to understand how she is experiencing it so that I can be clear of what other areas of well-being may be impacted too. I would be reflecting back to June how I am linking this to well-being to check that I have understood and ensure that I am not making assumptions. The Care Act guidance states that an assessment conversation is a critical and therapeutic intervention in its own right, and having this space to explore with a social care practitioner how their personal or desired outcomes, the needs that are emerging through the assessment conversation, and the way in which this impacts on the individual's sense of well-being is just one way in which this is a therapeutic intervention in its own right. During the semi-structured conversation, it is vital that we do not make assumptions about an individual, as we need to understand from the viewpoint of the individual how their needs are impacting on one or more areas of well-being. We can make assumptions, for example, that an individual who is, say, beyond retirement age, so they no longer are required to work, therefore work and education would not be important to them and their individual sense of well-being. But June is a fine example of how it is still really important to her, and her ability to participate in that not only helps her to achieve a sense of well-being in that area, but it also helps her to feel that she is contributing to society. So well-being is absolutely fundamental and must be at the heart of the assessment conversation and intervention. Once we've completed the assessment conversation, it is important and necessary for a social care practitioner to make a recording of that conversation. So June, had you had an experience of assessment of need, and then the social care practitioner has gone back to the office to document that conversation that you have had, what do you want to see in the record that you will receive?
I want to see that the record is made in my words, so that what's written is actually within my ownership, rather than an interpretation of what I said by the practitioner. So that's really important. I also want to see how, if they've understood what I mean by for my well-being, it's being able to contribute. It was interesting that about you talking about age and retirement, and there may be assumptions that that should happen. I'm past retirement age, but those assumptions would really be detrimental to my well-being if I wasn't given, if you like, given the that I'm caught out doing good things rather than caught out not to. So give me those opportunities. So far, I find that they are being given to me based on the credibility of my working life, because it's an extension. And so, yeah, that's the sort of thing I want that person to have picked up on. And one assessment I do value was that I gave back a form which I was meant to record my goals and how I was achieving them or not. And I said, well, actually, this just enhances my feelings of not being good enough. Because if I don't meet those goals, then it just perpetuates that belief. So that professional, that practitioner said, well, look, there's a group of people meeting together, starting to meet together, who would like to offer like peer support to each other and have things they want to say. You have things that you want to say. These are the people who you should contact. And I went along to the first meeting and stayed. I was hooked on this whole empowerment journey that started there with that practitioner saying, right, you've got things to say. You don't think we're listening. Go and say it with this group of people collectively. And that was a powerful moment.
Fantastic. And so that is as well going back to what we were saying around when we're offering information, advice and guidance and looking at solutions. It was something, it gave you that, you said, opportunity to demonstrate to myself that I have abilities. And so that practitioner had picked up on that, offered a potential avenue, and you made a decision that yes, you're going to go and try it. And that is, again, another example of why the assessment conversation is a therapeutic intervention in its own right, because by the sounds of it, that was a catalyst to you going off and achieving so much.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas if we'd have perhaps, looked at providing a service to you, so you became a recipient of a service and someone coming in to support you, that door may not have opened. And so
I think the important thing was that he facilitated and enabled me.
yeah.
So the support that was offered was to support me to take my own independence and actions. So he was facilitating and enabling, and I think that was so important.
Absolutely. And it is important as well that when the social care practitioner is writing the putting the conversation onto the form, the tool that we have to record, that those conversations are captured also, because it is providing information, advice and guidance. It is looking at ways in which we can prevent your needs from escalating, because you have got that positive pathway to go. And so they're important things that should be recorded in the assessment document as well. So, as I mentioned before, it is a legal duty for the local authority to provide a copy of an assessment document with the individual. And best practices is that, between the social care practitioner and the individual, that you go through that completed assessment document together to make sure that the individual is happy, that it is an accurate reflection of their life as is appropriate and proportionate to their circumstances and the outcomes that they are wishing to achieve. As June mentioned, writing in the first person is really important, because again, that demonstrates a respect that the social care practitioner has actively listened and understood what is important to that person. The assessment document needs to capture the views of all of the people that have been included in the assessment conversation. So June's mentioned in other videos that during an assessment that she was under, that she was involved with as an adult requiring that support, there was no mention of her family who are important to her, no mention of her partner and the way in which her partner contributes to her health and well-being. And so when we are doing the formal write-up of the assessment, we do need to be making sure that we're capturing the views of those people and other professionals that might be involved in that person's life. If we're doing an assessment, they're not always going to be agreeable, okay? There will be differences of opinion, and it is important that those are respectfully reflected in that assessment document as well. Just making it clear what steps have been taken by the social care practitioner or the local authority, if required, to try and overcome them, okay? Differences of opinion are not bad, they're good, they're healthy, and, they should be, dealt with respectfully. And it's important that the social care practitioner as well uses the assessment form to offer an analysis, the professional opinion, the evidence to demonstrate where the need is, and then of course again, just to reiterate, making sure that the individual has got a copy of that assessment document. Thank you for listening. Remember to check further resources and other videos on this and other themes at the Sky website. Thank you so much for your time, June.